Welcome back to FM Storey. We're approaching the end of Season 3 with Sporting. We're in a pretty decent position. Hopefully we can get the league title wrapped up shortly. And we've also managed to make it through to the quarterfinal of the Champions League. Could we possibly do that most remarkable of doubles? Let's find out. Before we do get started, if you do enjoy the video, please like, comment and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get going. We've made it towards the end of April and we're now at a point where the only way we can lose the league title is if we lose every single game we've got left. So things have gone pretty well in the league. The Champions League didn't go quite to plan, but that was largely due to a few injury issues at a bad time. We ended the last episode after the Sociedad game in the Champions League. So the first league game after that, we played away at Braga and came away with a 2-0 victory. Pretty comfortable. They didn't have many chances. We took a very early lead through Inacio. We managed to miss a penalty through Trincao, but Mark said we've got a penalty near the end just to ease any concerns we had late on in that game. We were then at home to Pacos de Ferreira. And to be perfectly honest, the scoreline flattered us quite a bit in this game. We were 4-0 up after 44 minutes, but they had quite a few decent chances in the second half. And on another day, it could have been a lot closer a result, but luckily we came away with a 4-1 victory. We then went into the first leg of the Champions League game at home to Bayern Munich, and we had some serious issues in that we already had Jerison just injured, so we were having to play Goncalo Estevez at right back. He picked up an injury on the hour mark, which has ruled him out for most of the rest of the season. In the day before the game, Manu Silva, who could have potentially played a role in the defensive midfield spot to enable us to play Menino at right back, picked up an injury. Alban Lafont picked up an injury, so we had to play Diego Calai in goal, and there's quite a big drop off from first choice to second choice goalkeeper, and we saw that in this game. And also Ismail Assar was suspended as well. So we really were kind of up against it going into it. And basically, we had a load of chances that we didn't take. They took the chances when they came, including a screamer from Hernandez from the corner of the box. We managed to pull a goal late. We managed to pull back a goal deep in injury time from Thiago Tomas to give us a chance going into the second leg. Given that there was only a week between the two Champions League games, we decided on going in with a pretty fully rotated team for the game against Casapia. Luckily, we came out on the right end, because sometimes when we've done that in the past, we've caused a few issues. But we did we brought 3 players out of the under-23s to make the debut. So Machado came in at right back because San Just and Estevez were injured. Mendonca came in and played in the midfield, and David Sabatic came in and played on the right wing and put in a man of the match performance on his debut. We got off to a decent start. Sabatic went past his defender with ease, squared it, and Thomas tapped in, and then Sabatic picked up a goal. They pulled one back just before half time. Luckily, we made a change just at half time and brought Gabriel Menino on, and he popped up almost immediately to put us 3-1 in front. They did pull a goal back from Felipe Cardoso, but then Sabatic again put one on a plate for Vitor Roque to score to put us 4-2 up. Unfortunately, after that, Vitor Roque picked up an injury, so whilst we'd managed to rest most of the first team players that were going to be involved in the second leg against Bayern Munich, we did lose Vitor Roque, I think pretty much for the rest of the season as well. So that's a big blow in terms of someone who could come off the bench and potentially change a game for us. Going into the second leg against Bayern Munich, Lafont wasn't fully fit, but because of the drop-off between him and Calai, we decided to bring him back, and that was potentially a mistake in terms of how the game played out. With Estevez and with Estes and Sanjus being injured, Menino went to right back and struggled a bit there. I think we can safely say Ismail Assar did come back into the team and played pretty well. We did take an early lead through Trincao, and at that point everything looked like it was going pretty well. Things turned when they got their equaliser. It was basically a long ball through. Schick was racing clear of the defence and managed to get on the end of it before Lafont, who'd come flying out of his goal, and just he lifted it past Lafont into the empty net, and that was just level. We did have another couple of chances after they scored, but really once they equalised, we just didn't really create an awful lot. Thomas Muller's goal, really Lafont should have stopped, and then we were pushing on, trying to get back into the game, and Musiala rounded off a victory for them in the last minute. So we've gone out of the Champions League, but we managed to make it to the quarterfinals. Really, you would probably expect, looking at the Bayern Munich squad, I mean, if you look at the team that started, it's still pretty much the same Bayern Munich team that they've got, except they've added Nkunku and Schick. They've also got Sheldrup, who's caused us all sorts of problems when he's been playing for Benfica. So yeah, it's a pretty strong Bayern Munich squad. Obviously aging a bit, but they just had too much for us over the whole time. But looking forward to next season, we've got a young squad who are gaining in experience, and the experience to get into the quarterfinal. Hopefully we can at least make that stage next season, or even go one stage further. So coming off the Bayern Munich game, we decided to go back to a similar philosophy that we had in the previous league game when we went away to Chaves. So we basically picked a second choice team. We played Marcus Leonardo up front, largely because at the moment it seems whichever one of Marcus Leonardo or Thiago Thomas starts, the one that comes off the bench does better. So we put Marcus Leonardo into the team, and he rewarded us with an early goal. In fact, we were 3-0 up after 20 minutes. Goals from Leonardo, Coates and Blanco. Marcus Edwards added a couple in the second half, and it was a comfortable 5-0 victory, which was rounded off with a penalty save from Diego Calai. And what this means going into the next game at home to Penafiel is that we only need a point to win the title. We are 15 points clear of Porto, who have a game in hand. So as long as we don't lose every other game we've got this season, we will win the title. The fact that, so obviously Porto can only get a maximum of 15 points from the games that they've got left. We would have already wrapped up the title had we not managed to lose to Porto in the home game against them. If we'd won that game, we'd have already won the title on the head-to-head, but because they beat us, they've got a better head-to-head record against us. So obviously if we somehow manage to lose every one of the 4 games we've got left and Porto win every game, then Porto will be champions. But hopefully we can at least pick up a point in this next game against Penafiel, and then we can celebrate being champions for the second year running. The interesting thing is looking at the league table. Benfica are actually struggling to finish third. Prior to the last game that they played, they were even struggling to finish in the European places. I mean, if you look at Portimonense, they've got a game in hand on Benfica, which would put them a point behind them, and Estoril are only 3 points behind them. So Benfica are obviously having a struggle this season, which, given how well we've played this season, obviously with local rivals struggling like that, is another thing that the fans will love. If you look at the player stats, apart from top goal scorer, because we've spread our goals round, our players are right near the top of it. You've got, in terms of the average rating, Diamande, Trincao and Shqiri. In terms of the assists, you've got Trincao and Rice. Player of the match is Trincao. Lafont managed to keep 13 clean sheets in 30 games. Obviously not quite as good as Diego Costa, but it's gone a long way to ensuring that we're where we are in the league table, and especially with that goal difference as well. So hopefully we can roll into this next game against Penafiel, win the title, and then relax for the rest of the season. So, going to this game against Penafiel, we're going in with pretty much as strong a team as we can pick, with a couple of exceptions. So, Machado's playing him right back just because St. Just isn't fit enough to start. Estevez is still injured, and we want Menino to play in the midfield. And we've picked Sabotic on the right hand side and just giving Trincao a bit of a rest. And hopefully we've got enough about us to go in and put in a decent performance, get the result that we need, and celebrate being champions. I mean, ideally, if we can get off to a quick start at home, that would be brilliant. Right, Rice with the corner, Penafiel with the header. That's just 1-0 up after 7 minutes. And hopefully it's just the start of more goals going in and securing the title. Right, Rice to Sarr. Leonardo in acres of space on this left-hand side. Cuts inside, finds Sabotic on the right. And surely that's a penalty. At least one of them has upended him in the box. And it is a penalty. I don't know who's taking it because none of the usual takes are on the pitch. Ismail Assar steps up, sends the keeper the wrong way. 2-0, 2 goals in 2 minutes. And it looks like it's going to be a procession towards the title now. Right, they've got a free kick. Diamande heads clear, but they've got the ball. Right, Rice intercepts and brings the ball clear into Leonardo. Ismail Assar looking back through the middle for Leonardo. What a lovely goal that is. Great counter-attack. Ismail Assar drives forward, lifts the ball over the top of the centre halves. Keeper half comes for it. Leonardo takes a touch and then just dinks it over him. And that's 3-0 after 15 minutes. Right, Rice corner. It's headed clear. But Rice has got it back. Diamande, Mansverk, Menino, Sarr. What a goal. And what a signing Sarr's turned out to be on a free transfer. If only he didn't get booked as much and get injured as much. Diamande shifts it to Mansverk. Menino onto Sarr, takes a touch, and then smashes it into the top corner from 25 yards. I mean, that is about as good a performance as you can expect. We went into the game knowing that as long as we don't lose, we win the title. And we've gone in and smashed in 4 before half-time. Right, we've made one change at half-time. We brought Mendonca on for Marita just because he's been struggling a bit with the number of games we've played. Rice with a throw-in. Mansverk to Menino. Machado gives the ball away on the edge of the box. Ignacio, Mansverk. They're breaking ball over the top. But when they've hit the post, we need to sharpen up and not let them back into this game. Right, Mendonca wins the ball back, but they've got it back straight away. They've gone over the top of Mateus Rice. We've managed to clear as far as Moreira, and Menino's given the ball away there. Oh. We've got sloppy in the second half. But it doesn't matter. We've won the game. We've won the title. And now we can relax for the rest of the season and potentially blood some more of these young players. We've made it to the last day of the season where we've got an away game against Feirense. We obviously already won the league. We're 17 points clear of Porto in second. Actually, had we even lost the last game we saw, the one against Penafiel, we would have still won the title. Porto went away to Portimonense and lost that game. It is going to be interesting to see where Benfica actually finish because they've finished their season. So they've got 59 points in third. You've got Vitória Guimarães, who were at home to Boa Vista, who, if they win, will go above them. You've also got Portimonense, who are away to AC Viseu. who, if they win, will go above them. So there's a very good chance Benfica might actually even finish 5th this season, which would be a disaster for them. Since the Penafiel game, we've played 2 games and we've basically started both those games with a fully rotated team, largely to get some young players first team football. So the first game was away at Gil Vicente. First half we really struggled. We made a change at half time and brought on off Nuno Santos and put Marcos Leonardo on the left hand side, and that really made quite a difference. Yusuf Chamiti, who we'd given a start to, picked up 2 goals in the second half. Coates added another one as well. I think going forward next season, Chamiti we might send out on loan to a team in our division the same way that we've done with Rodrigo Ribeiro this season, just so he gets consistent first team football, because it's unlikely with Leonardo, Thiago Tomas, Vitor Roque, even if we sell one of them, it's unlikely that Chamiti is going to get regular first team football for us, so it might be the best to send him out on loan to let him develop. And the second game after the Penafiel game was our last home game, a game against Rio Ave, who were in deep relegation trouble. We basically picked the same team, except Ismail Assar was back from suspension, so we put him on the left side instead of Nuno Santos. Things, again, like the previous game, it took us until the second half to get going. We were about to make 5 changes to bring some of the more experienced players on when Chamiti popped up with the opening goal. We still made those changes. Trincao missed a penalty but smashed home the rebound, and Thiago Tomas rounded off the victory with a 3-0 win. So going into this game against Feirense, we've picked basically the same team that we've started the last couple of games with. The only change to the starting lineup is Matthias Reis is coming because Moreira is away at the Under-20 World Cup with Argentina. And then the only change on the bench is Marcus Edwards is coming to the bench instead of Morita, who has picked up another hip injury and he's out for another 2 to 3 months. So hopefully we'll have him back close to the start of next season, but he might even miss the start of next season. Marsa to Ismail Assar, Manu Silva, Matthias Reis. Skiri, what a ball for Mendonca. Oh, what a finish. It's a lovely ball by Skiri with the outside of his foot. It bounces up for Mendonca and he manages to get over the top of it and keep it down. Rice almost loses the ball into Skiri. Toe pucks it with the outside of his right foot. Mendonca takes a touch. It bounces up, but he manages to keep it down and puts it in the back of the net. And what a great start that. Marsa to Skiri looking for Sabotic on that right hand side. They've gone long. Coates to Machado. All the way across to Marsa. Into Chamiti. Wide back to Machado. Chamiti. Oh. Lovely link-up play by Chamiti and Machado there. Both are really taking advantage of these starts and putting in some decent performances. Chamiti comes deep. Wide to Machado. Chamiti makes the run into the box and just slots it past the keeper. Skiri with a free kick. They're breaking clear now. Oh, Sar nicks it back. Skiri into Chamiti. That's got to be a penalty. And it is. And Ismail Assar stepping up to take the penalty. And he gives the keeper no chance. And that's us 3-0 up after 17 minutes. Overall, about as good a first half as we'd be expecting. I mean, they've not had a single shot. We've scored 3. And it's a pretty young team that we've got out there as well. Trincao with the corner. Right, are they going to break? Taking the ball a long way. Lovely pass, but what was the defence doing? I mean, everyone seemed to stop. As the ball comes in, even their centre forward seems to stop, and then he suddenly realises it's coming all the way through, and he beats Lafont to the ball, and we've conceded a goal, and that's taken a bit of the gloss off the performance. But we've ended the season with a comfortable 3-1 victory. We've won the title by an absolute mile, and we just need to build on that and see if we can repeat again and go for the 3-peat next season. It's time for the end of season review. So in terms of the new signs, really there was 4 main ones that came in. Ismail Astar was the standout of the incomings. 34 starts, 41 games in total, 19 goals, 7 assists. As long as we can keep him from getting suspended and stop him getting injured, a real bargain for a free transfer. Antonio Blanco, we signed on a free transfer from Real Madrid's B team, has put in some decent performances when he's been called upon. Largely that's been in the cup competitions and in league games where we've been resting the first team, but it's not come close to cracking into that first team 11. Moreira, I mean, the board aren't happy with it because of the transfer fee and the wage, but he looks a real promising prospect for the future. He's played well when he's going to the team, and he's only 20, so hopefully he can continue developing. And Manu Silva was really just adding an extra body in that defensive midfield spot, taking a player away from a rival as well. Hasn't had the best of seasons. He's had the odd good game, but largely hasn't really put together a string of them to force his way into the team. So the expectation from the board before the season, despite the fact that we won the league last season, the expectation was to qualify for the Europa League, so basically to finish 3rd. We've won the league. I mean, if it wasn't an A+, I would have been disappointed. Obviously, we only lost 2 games this season, which were the away game against Benfica right at the start of the season, and then the home game against Porto midway through the season. What we did as well is we turned a lot of the draws from last season into wins, just to give us an even better season than we had last season. I mean, we only drew the 3 games. Away at Famalicão, which we should have won. Away at Porto, which I would take a 0-0 draw there every time. And then we drew 2-2 at home to Boavista when we were rotating our squad around. But everything else, apart from those 3 draws, 2 defeats, won a lot of games really comfortably as well. So a really, really impressive season and a second successive title. Champions League, they wanted to reach the Champions League proper, which, considering we were in the group stage from the start, I don't know quite what the expectation was there. We made it to the quarterfinal. I mean, the league phase was really great. I think we finished 3rd in the league phase. We drew with Leverkusen in the opening day, which kind of made us think we maybe weren't going to do so well. But the only defeat we suffered in the league phase was the last day away at Man City, when we ran into Erling Haaland on a decent day. The knockout stages, not so great. We lost 3 of the 4 knockout games. Just the only reason we got through was we hammered Sociedad at home in the second leg. Things to work on in that respect, but overall a pretty decent season in the Champions League. Tax to Portugal, less said about that the better, really. Just not a decent performance, and the way we were knocked out by a team that was struggling to stay in the league as well. Really disappointing. The Allianz Cup, they wanted us to be competitive. We reached the semi-final, really, with Porto having been knocked out in the group stage and not being drawn against Benfica in the semi-final. We should have made it to the final, but we threw that away against Vitória Guimarães in the last minute. The Super Taca, they expect us to be competitive. I mean, we were I don't get the be competitive. We were runner-up. We drew 1-1. Lost on penalties. If that's not competitive, I don't actually know what is. But it's a strange expectation for a competition where there's only 2 teams in it. So we did play this formation all season, and that is pretty much the team that started most games. The only changes to what we would consider our first choice team is that Jerry St Just would be at right back instead of Goncalo Estevez, and that it would be Marita and Menino in that midfield too. But Shaqiri did well when he came in, because there was a spell where Marita was out for a couple of months and Menino was out. But yeah, really, really strong performance. I mean, if you look at that, Leonardo got 20. We certainly shared the goals around. Leonardo got 20, Sarr got 19, Trincao got 15. I mean, even Marita got 9, Shaqiri got 8. And obviously, big assists from Trincao and Rice, taking a lot of the set pieces. And that was last season's Manager of the Year, but we won Manager of the Month for November, December, January, February, March, and April. Trincao, understandably, was Fans Player of the Season. Diamande, again, understandably, Young Player of the Season. Ismail Assar was by far and away the signing of the season. I mean, Trincao had the most assists by a Sporting Player in the season. Lafont kept the most clean sheets in the season. Trincao with most man of the matches. Goncalo Estevez, conversely, had the worst discipline we've seen. And yeah, a really, really decent season. We ended up with our highest points total, most league wins. So, a really good season. And hopefully we can come back next season and do it all again for the three-peat. And that's the end of another episode and of another season. Really decent season. We've managed to repeat as champions. We got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Let's hope we can build on that and go for the three-peat with the league title next season. And hopefully we can pick up another domestic cup as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.